welcome to the deep dive. You know how it is you're aiming to truly understand a topic, to really dig beneath the surface, but without getting totally lost in a flood of information.
Yeah, absolutely. Information overload is real.
Exactly. So that's what we're tackling today. We've got some really interesting material here, and we're focusing on this framework called agno. Think of this as maybe a shortcut to understanding how agno can seriously boost your research game.
Precisely. And our goal isn't just to, define agno in the abstract. We want to explore how it actually works inside, and more importantly, how you can apply it to make your own research more effective, more insightful.
And the resources we looked at, they give a pretty practical view, right? Lots of examples of features and how they're put together.
Really, very hands-on stuff. It shows agno in action.
Okay, so let's get into it then. What exactly is agno? From what we've seen, it seems to be a framework specifically for creating intelligent agents.
That's the core idea, yes. It's designed to build these agents.
The Compere I1 source mentioned it specifically. They picked agno to build this multi-persona system.
That's right. And at its heart, agno provides this fundamental building block called agno.Agent.
Okay.
You can think of each agno agent as like a dedicated virtual assistant. You give it a description, specific instructions, and you can even equip it with special skills. They call them tools.
Right, tools. And these agents, they use models like OpenAI's GPT-4o, don't they? Saw that in the agent concepts examples.
Exactly. They leverage powerful language models like GPT-4o to understand, reason, and respond.
So this multi-persona system you mentioned from Compare I1, that sounds really relevant for tackling complex research. How does that work?
It's a fantastic illustration, actually. It shows how agno lets you break down really complex research challenges. Essentially, you build a virtual research team.
A team.
Yeah. Compare I1 defines several distinct personas, FOS, Metta, Metta, and so on. Each one is implemented as a separate agno agent.
Ah, okay. So each persona is an agent.
Correct. And the powerful thing here isn't just dividing the work. It's about simulating different perspectives, different kinds of expertise, all focused on the same research problem. You might catch things a single researcher would miss.
So like having a team meeting with specialists, but they're agents, each with their own expertise.
Precisely that. Each persona gets unique roles, specific instructions, just like you'd brief a real team member. And this is where agno's @tool decorator is, well, kind of magic.
The @tool decorator.
Yeah, think of it as the way you give your virtual researchers specific skills. Maybe one agent is great at analyzing data from a CSV, another excels at summarizing academic papers from ARC.
Okay, I see.
The decorator lets a central agent, like the main Compare I1 agent, define these skills as asynchronous functions. This means Compare can call on the right persona for a specific part of the research task.
And asynchronous means they can work at the same time, not waiting on each other.
Exactly. It's like different team members tackling their assignments concurrently. It massively speeds up the whole research process, especially for big, complicated questions.
So you have a lead agent coordinating these specialists, delegating tasks, all within one system. That sounds much smoother.
It really is. The main Compare agent analyzes the user's request, figures out which personas are needed, orchestrates their collaboration asynchronously, then synthesizes all their findings into one final coherent response.
Very neat. Okay, so intelligent agents, virtual teams, but deep research needs data. Lots of it. How does agno handle accessing information? It seems to have some serious knowledge-based capabilities.
Oh, absolutely. This is another area where it really shines for research.
Yeah.
It's the sheer variety of knowledge sources agno can connect to is impressive. If you look in that agent concepts knowledge directory, it shows connections to, well, everything. ArcSIF for scientific papers, obviously, both for immediate lookups and running searches in the background.
Okay, ArcSIF makes sense. What else?
CSV files, whether local or from a URL. PDFs, same deal, local, URL. Even PDFs stored securely in S3 buckets. Websites. It can crawl websites for information.
Crawl websites, so you can point it at a site and it can pull info.
Yep, and Wikipedia, of course. Even YouTube videos can work with the transcript data.
YouTube videos, wow. So text, structured data, web pages, video content.
Right, and your own local documents too, text files, Word documents, docs, JSON files. Plus, it can combine knowledge from multiple sources. Maybe you want insights from ArcSUV and a specific set of websites.
You can merge them.
Exactly. Create a unified knowledge base for your agent to query. It's incredibly flexible. Basically, if information relevant to your research exists somewhere, agno probably has a way to connect your agent to it.
That's huge. And I noticed it integrates with things like LangChain and LlamaIndex too. for people already using those.
That's right. It plays well with others.
Yeah.
If you've already got knowledge systems built with LangChain or Lemma Index, Agno can plug right into them. No need to start over. And the key here is how the agent uses this knowledge. By connecting an agent to these knowledge bases, you ask your questions and it finds grounded answers. There's a parameter, search knowledge, true.
Oh, I saw that mentioned.
That parameter is crucial. It tells the agno.Agent to proactively search its connected knowledge sources when it needs information to answer your question. It doesn't just rely on its internal model knowledge.
Okay, so we have smart agents, access to tons of knowledge, but research isn't usually just one question, is it? It's iterative. You ask something, get an answer, then ask a follow-up. How does Agno handle that? Memory seems pretty important here.
Crucial. Absolutely crucial for any serious research flow. You need context. Agno has several ways to manage this. The simplest is the built-in memory within an agent.
Like in that 01 built-in memory.pi example.
Exactly. That gives the agent short-term recall of the current conversation. It knows what you just asked, so follow-ups make sense.
But what about longer-term stuff? Like coming back to a research project tomorrow or remembering key findings from last week.
That's where persistent memory comes in. And Agno supports different options depending on your needs. You can use simple file-based storage with SQLite.
Okay.
Or more heavy-duty databases like PostgreSQL, or even MongoDB for, really large-scale or complex memory needs.
So you can choose the back end based on the project scale.
Precisely. Those examples like 02 persistent memory.py, 04 persistent memory postgres.py, and 07 persistent memory mongodb.py show how to set this up. It stores the whole conversation history.
And it can do summaries too. I think I saw that mentioned.
Yes. It can generate summaries of past interactions and even create what they call personalized memories. The agent starts to learn your preferences, your specific research focus over time.
Personalized memories.
Yeah.
That sounds really powerful for long-term projects.
It really is. Imagine an assistant that remembers the key papers you found important last month, or the specific hypothesis you were exploring. It makes the interaction much more natural, more efficient. You don't have to constantly repeat context.
Yeah, that constant re-explaining gets old fast.
Doesn't it? So persistent personalized memory is a big deal for deep research workflows.
Okay, this is all fitting together. We got agents, knowledge access, memory. Now, how does it actually use that knowledge effectively? I saw the term agentic RAG. Can you break that down for us?
Right, agentic RAG. It's a really important concept for how Agno works. So RAG stands for retrieval augmented generation.
Okay.
Traditional RAG usually means finding relevant info from a knowledge base and just stuffing it into the prompt you send to the language model.
Gotcha. Just adding context.
Yeah. Agentic RAG, which Agno does really well, is... well, it's smarter. Instead of just passively getting context dumped on it, the Agno agent proactively decides when and what to search for in its knowledge bases using its tools.
Ah, so the agent is doing the searching as part of its thinking process.
Exactly. It's not you feeding it documents. The agent realizes, to answer this question properly, I need to check the Archive tool for recent papers on X, or I should search my PDF knowledge base for Y. It actively goes and finds the information it needs.
That sounds way more efficient than just throwing potentially huge amounts of text at the model for every single query.
It is much more targeted. Remember that search knowledge tree setting we talked about?
Yeah.
That's what enables this agentic capability.
Yeah.
The agent reasons about your question, identifies knowledge gaps, uses its tools, the knowledge-based connections, to fill those gaps, and then generates the response, incorporating that retrieved information intelligently.
And the example showed it using things like pgvector and LanceDB.
Right. Those are vector databases. They're super efficient for finding information based on meaning, not just keywords, so the agent can search for concepts.
Like finding relevant stuff even if the exact words aren't used.
Precisely. It's semantic search. And Agno can even do more advanced things, like using Cohere to re-rank the search results, making sure the absolute most relevant information gets prioritized in the agent's context. That's in the agentic RAG with ranking.py example.
Okay, wow. That's quite sophisticated retrieval. We've covered a lot of ground on the technical side. Can we talk about some more sort of concrete examples? How might someone actually use this in their day-to-day research?
Sure. Well, the basic examples, basic.py and basicstream.py, just show simple question answering. Ask the agent something, it replies.
Standard chatbot stuff.
Yeah, but useful as a starting point. But then look at something like dataanalyst.py. That agent uses DuckDB tools.
DuckDB.
Yeah.
Like for databases.
Exactly. It lets the agent directly query a database, in that example, a movie dataset, to answer analytical questions you ask in plain English.
Oh, so you could ask, Which directors had the highest average movie ratings in the 90s? And the agent could query the data and tell you.
Potentially, yes.
Yeah.
Instead of you writing SQL or code, you ask the question. The agent figures out how to query the data using its tool and gives you the answer. Think of the time saving for data exploration.
That's huge. No more manual data wrangling for simple queries.
Right. And then Toulouse.py shows an agent using DuckDuckGo to answer questions about current events, so it can fetch real-time information from the web.
For up-to-the-minute research.
Exactly. And we also saw structure-output.py. You can tell Agno to give you the research findings back in a specific format, like JSON, using pydantic models.
Oh, that's handy. So you can pipe the output directly into another tool or a report without manual reformatting.
Precisely. Makes integration much easier.
It really sounds incredibly versatile. Is it just limited to text and data, though? Or can it handle other types of information?
No, not at all. That's another strength. Agno has significant multimodal capabilities. Check out the Agent Concepts multimodal directory.
Multimodal?
Meaning it can handle different types of media, not just text. It can process audio input, generate audio output.
Like talking to your research assistant.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah.
It can transcribe audio files, even do sentiment analysis on audio. And images, it can analyze images, describe what's in them, image to text.py, even generate images based on prompts.
Image generation, too.
Okay. Yeah, and even some video processing. Examples like generating video captions or summarizing video content.
So you could potentially use it to analyze interview recordings or describe figures in a paper or even understand video footage.
Exactly. It opens up research possibilities for fields working with multimedia data. Plus, and this is key for tailoring it, Agno is extensible. You can build your own custom tools.
Custom tools?
Yeah, like in async-tool-decorator.py. If you have a very specific research database or analysis function you need, you can build a tool for it and plug it into your Agno agent. You're not limited to the built-in stuff.
So you can really customize it for a specific niche research workflow.
Absolutely. Tailor it precisely to your needs.
Okay, pulling this all together then. How would someone actually build a full research workflow using Agno? We talked about pieces, but how does it become a system?
Well, think back to that Compere I1 example. That's the blueprint, really.
For multi-persona system.
Right. You design a team of specialized agents. One might be your literature search expert connected to RTIF and web search tools. Another might be your data analyst with database tools. Another could be a summarizer. Then you have a central coordinating agent, maybe your main research assistant agent. You give it your high-level research question. It understands the task, breaks it down, and delegates pieces to the specialist agents using their tools.
And it uses the memory system to keep track of everything across sessions.
Exactly. It maintains context, remembers past findings, it orchestrates the specialists, synthesizes their outputs, maybe asks clarifying questions, and gives you the final result. You could build a personalized assistant perfectly tuned to your field.
It really does sound like it could transform how people do research.
Yeah.
It's about managing the information flow, leveraging specialized skills, maintaining context.
All while automating a lot of the grunt work. It lets you focus more on the actual insights, the higher level thinking.
So, summarizing the benefits: efficient access to info, handling all sorts of data formats, remembering context, building complex workflows.
You've got it. It really feels like a way to shortcut the process of getting deeply informed, giving you the tools to actually process and understand the information, not just drown in it.
This has been incredibly illuminating, a real deep dive into Agno and what it could mean for research.
Glad we could explore it. It's powerful stuff.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? Considering just how much information is out there now, it poses a final question, really. How could having your own personalized, Agno-powered research assistant fundamentally change your ability to learn, discover, and create new knowledge? Something to mull over.
Definitely food for thought.
Thanks for walking us through all that today.
My pleasure. It was a great discussion.